Okay, so in this scenario, we are now trying to find how long you're gonna have to pay your mortgage, right? So let's say you borrow a certain amount of money, right? And it might not be a mortgage. Let's say you take a loan, right? And you're making your monthly payments. You can calculate how long your loan is gonna last. I should change this to loan. Okay, so let's read the scenario. Sarah is buying a car and needs to borrow $24,000 from a bank offering a monthly interest rate of 0.5%. If Sarah makes monthly payments of $400, determine how long it will take her to pay off the loan to the nearest month using the formula below. So her monthly payment is $400, that's how much she can afford. The amount borrowed is $24,000. And the interest rate per month, luckily it gives us the monthly interest rate, so we can just use it straight up, is 0.5%. But remember, in order to put in the formula, we have to divide it by 100. And then we don't know the number of payments, so we're going to leave that as n. So I'm going to plug it into the formula. So we have 400 equals, my P is 24,000. My R is 0.005. Then I have 1 plus 0.005 to the power of n. I don't know what n is. Then I have 1 plus 0.005. Again, I don't know what n is, minus 1. This does not look pretty, so let's clean this up a little bit. This is being multiplied together, so you can put that in your calculator, okay? If you put that in your calculator, you're going to get 120. So this became this. Now I'm just going to clean these up, right? So I'm just going to write, instead of writing 1 plus 0.005, I'm going to add it. So I'm going to get 1.005 to the power of n. And then same thing here, 1.005 to the power of n minus 1. Now here's the thing. We're looking for n, which is an exponent. So like our last unit, anytime x is in an exponent, or the variable is in an exponent, we're going to have to use logs eventually. This is where it gets a little bit confusing. We have like an n on the top and bottom, which makes this really confusing. So what I want to do is I actually want to get rid of this denominator. And the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to multiply both sides by the denominator. So I'm multiplying that side, and then of course, if I do it to one side, I'm going to erase this for right now. If I do it to one side, I have to do it to the other side. So I'm going to write it as 1.005 n minus 1. Okay, what's going to happen here when something's on the top and bottom, it cancels out. So I'm going to write what I have left. I'm going to put the 400 in the front, like this, equals 120, 1.005 n. Okay, now to get rid of these outer parentheses and to make my life easier, I'm actually going to distribute the 400 to both of these terms. So essentially, I'm going to have 400. Do not multiply this and this. You can't do that because the 1.005 is connected to the n, so you can't just multiply it that. Minus, well, 400 times 1 is 400 equals 120, 1.005 n. Okay, so now this looks a little bit more doable. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to combine like terms, right? Imagine if we had something like this, 400x minus 400 equals 120x. What you would do at this point is you would subtract 400x, right? Because we want to move all the x's to one side. Essentially, instead of x, I have this as my like last name or my like terms. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to subtract 400 times that on both sides. And just like terms, right, these are going to cancel out. So I have negative 400. Just like with like terms, you're just going to do 120 minus 400. If you put that in your calculator, you're going to get negative 280. Now at this point, this is just like a simple exponential equation. We should know how to solve this because this is the last unit. First, I want to isolate this. So I'm going to get rid of the negative 280 by dividing it on both sides. Cross that out. When I divide negative 400 divided by negative 280, I get 1.2 do this in your calculator. Like pause and do this. You get 1.42857. I think it continues on. Equals 1.005 to the power of n. Again, I don't like when the variable is an exponent. So to move that down, I have to take the log of both sides. So I'm going to do just that. When I take the log, the n moves to the front. So I have n log 1.005. Now I need to solve for n. I want that by itself. So I'm going to divide both sides by log 1.005. Cancel these out. And now you can just put this in your calculator, right? So that's going to give me n is going to equal 71.51. I think that goes on, but we're trying to round to the nearest month. So remember, n is your monthly payment. So this is in months already. Since we're trying to round to the nearest month, we're just going to say 72 months, right? So essentially, it's taking her 72 months to pay off her loan. If you wanted to change that in years, you could divide by 12, okay? This was the hardest one, but it's very doable.